Rothamsted Park from the District Council. We think we can manage it better because it's an important asset of the town rather than one amongst many. We're prepared to make substantial investments to improve it, and we've got a track record of successfully managing evolved assets such as Batford Springs. In fact, you may recall that during my last term as mayor, you and I had a meeting with the current leader of the District Council and indicated that we were interested in taking over the park. So we initiated this process. However, all acquisitions must go through a process of due diligence. In other words, making proper inquiries about what you're getting into. It would be gross negligent not to do so. And at the moment, I think we need to look very closely at the flooding issue before we can accept the transfer. Thank you.
Thank you. I can see Councillor Scriven.
You're muted.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I speak this evening not only as a councillor, but as a member of the park team and also as a parent of 2 young children. I don't think anybody who takes a child to Rothamsted Play Park can fail to recognise the dire condition of the existing equipment and the desperate need for investment in a new play area in the Rothamsted Park. Since the park charity was established 2.5 years ago, we've worked tirelessly as a team to raise £250,000 to see delivering a new play park become a reality. And we were thrilled to receive the full support of the council, and we've been working closely alongside them over recent months in good faith that the council plans to take over ownership of the park. The proposed new play area is a really exciting project. It offers a significant range of pieces of equipment that cater for children of all ages and for those with disabilities. And it would bring enormous pleasure and joy to the children of the town for many, many years to come. We've had tremendous community support, and I think the sale of our personalised inscribed pavers has illustrated that. To date, we've sold in excess of 250 pavers at upwards of £100 a piece. And that's not an insignificant investment on the part of those individuals. And I think it reflects the huge community buy-in and support for the project and the determination of the people of Harpenden to help us at Park to make this project happen. We find ourselves at a point now where we have the full funding in place, which is exciting, and the final designs are approved and the contract's ready to be awarded and for works to start. Ownership of the park is our only obstacle, and we really, really need to push forward and find a way to secure ownership of the park. If we can find a way to do that, we could deliver this project this summer. And I think there couldn't be more perfect timing with children of our community having suffered so much disruption over the past 12 months with COVID. And just one final point to make on that is that the transfer of ownership of this park doesn't only serve to impact on this project, but also on the plans to vastly improve the provision of football facilities in the town, and for the benefit of many hundreds of both adults and children who participate in and support the game.
Thank you. Any further comments? Yes, Town Clerk.
Sorry, Madam Mayor, just before you go any further, I think you may just want to cover off the declarations of interest. I suspect they'll be the same as the last meeting, which I hadn't interjected earlier, but I think you might want to cover that off.
Good point. Thank you very much. So those who need to declare an interest. So it's all the district councillors plus Lisa and Nigel. I think that's everybody. Yes. Do you have them all?
So, Madam Mayor, just to confirm now, I think the declarations we've had last time councillors can correct me if not. So district councillors, it was non-pecuniary in relation to being a district councillor and it being a district council asset. I think Councillor Butterworth, Councillor Turnbull, Councillor Scriven also made non-pecuniary in relation to the Rockhampstead Park Management Committee, I believe,
Right.
previously. And Councillor Scriven previously in relation to involvement with Park. So I think those were the previous ones, unless there's any more.
That rings a bell with me. Is everybody content?
Mhm.
Lovely. Thank you very much. So any more comments or questions?
We've got Councillor Hill, Madam Mayor.
Sorry, I thought I said Councillor Hill. I must have muted myself.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Madam. Can I thank the officers for providing the report? They've been fantastic throughout the transfer process, led superbly by the town clerk. Reading this report, I'm confident in the short-term and medium-term proposals. I think this is a known and manageable risk. And yeah, I've got confidence in our proactive approach that we have to all our assets and the experience and expertise of council officers. Councillor Scriven noted the risks of delay. So there's the opportunity costs, of delaying, and the fact that I was using the ever since I've been using the Rockhampstead play, 15 years ago when I was using the play area, it was out of date then. There's hundreds of kids on a waiting list at Colts, and I think the 3G pitch and the improved grass pitches can help them meet their demand. And I think for all those hundreds of kids on those waiting lists, it would be a sort of transformative to their lives and experience of the park. So yes, there's risks. There's risks to, there's the risk of flooding, but I think we've got a good idea of how we're going to manage that. There's also the financial risk, the precept and special expenses and the budget that we as councillors agreed only last week. There's the impact of our external partners. We've mentioned Park, but there's also St Albans District Council who haven't budgeted for the park based on the commitment that we as a council made last year in good faith. And also we can't be sure that the FA and Football Foundation funding will wait for us beyond next year. So I think there's extortionate risks to us delaying. So yeah, that's my point.
Thank you. Do I have any other comments or questions? Yes, Councillor Turnbull.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Obviously, I concur with many of the good comments that have been made. In principle, we wish to acquire the park. Obviously, a number of detailed aspects still outstanding. And I'd like to raise a point of order. When we go into the details, it could become politically or sensitive to the discussions. And I would propose that the discussion going forward now proceeds as exempt business for two reasons. First of all, we are discussing confidential business matters in connection with individuals and organisations other than the council. And secondly, when it comes to the final commercial negotiations, there will be a party on the other side, which is obviously the district council. So I do believe going forward, we should have this discussion as exempt business. But no doubt, I will leave that to the mayor to decide. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have a seconder for that motion? That's Councillor Drake. Thank you. Town Clerk, does that accord with our standing orders?
Yes, it does, Madam Mayor. So if the belief is that the discussions of this meeting will go beyond the report and start to impact on commercial negotiations or details within the transfer, that's beyond the paragraphs in the report, then my advice is that you should move into exempt business.
Thank you very much. I'll take just one question from Councillor Hill and then I'll go for a vote.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Could I just ask whether, I mean, if there's any councillors who have any discussions on the actual report itself, I think it would be helpful for them to raise it now as opposed to wait until exempt business. So the councillors might not have anything they want to raise which isn't commercially sensitive, but I think that really only things which are commercially sensitive should be in exempt business. And if in exempt business the discussion goes to things which aren't commercially sensitive, I think that would be disappointing.
Noted, thank you. Does anyone have a comment or should we go straight to the vote?
Madam Mayor, we've got Councillor Liver.
Unmute. Thank you, Councillor Liver.
Just to confirm what the basis is for an exempt meeting. Those are only in defined circumstances. Those councils can only decide by resolution to meet in private when discussing confidential business or for other special reasons where publicity would be prejudicial to the public interest. I'm not aware that it's relevant in this instance.
Councillor Butterworth, did you wish to make a comment?
You're muted.
We can't hear you, Councillor Butterworth.
Sorry, apologies. Someone had to do it. Start again. Clearly, acquiring a very substantial amount of land, even if it's only for £1, there are a number of possible liabilities attached from another local authority when the heads of terms are not yet finalised, as I understand it. There will be quite sensitive negotiations, and I think the council's position could be prejudiced if if the relevant factors, which we'll go on to discuss, hopefully, were in the public domain. That would prejudice our position. It seems totally unfair, and I, for one, would feel constrained in what I could say in public. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I think, given the advice of the town clerk, we should go for a vote. So please indicate if you're willing to go into exempt business. I think that's a majority and not unanimous. Okay, in which case we do move into exempt business.